There's a moment, right before the throttle opens, when a lightweight motorcycle feels like it's leaning forward, eager, almost impatient. A subtle shift in balance. A tightening in the chassis. A quiet mechanical inhale before combustion turns intention into motion. That moment defines the KTM 390 Duke. On paper, it's just a 373 to 399 cubic centimeters single-cylinder naked bike. A modest displacement machine built for accessibility. In reality, it feels like it's trying to bend physics. Today we go deeper. Not just into specs, but into sensation. Into why light motorcycles feel faster. And why the Duke 390 may be one of the clearest examples of that phenomenon in modern motorcycling. The illusion of speed, or the science of it. Speed is often misunderstood. We measure it in kilometers per hour. We compare it in horsepower. We argue about it in numbers. But speed, as experienced by a rider, is something else entirely. It's a sensation. It's a reaction. It's how violently or gently the horizon shifts when you rotate your wrist 2 degrees. It's how quickly the engine responds to your intent. It's how rapidly the motorcycle transitions from stillness to motion. The Duke 390 weighs roughly 168 to 172 kilograms wet, depending on generation. That is light, especially for a modern street bike equipped with ride-by-wire, traction control, ABS, and a full TFT display. And weight changes everything. Power to weight, the real acceleration story. The Duke 390 produces approximately 43 to 45 horsepower. For riders conditioned by superbike numbers, that figure sounds almost humble. But horsepower in isolation is meaningless. Acceleration is not about how much power exists, it's about how much mass that power must move. Divide power by weight, and the story transforms. When a relatively modest engine is tasked with moving a very light chassis, the result is immediacy. The engine doesn't struggle against inertia. It doesn't need to spool up layers of rotating mass before delivering thrust. A heavier 90 horsepower motorcycle can feel slower in city riding than a 45 horsepower lightweight, because at real-world speeds, there's less inertia to overcome. The revs climb faster. The throttle response feels sharper. The bike changes speed more abruptly. The Duke's single-cylinder configuration plays a critical role here. With fewer cylinders, there are fewer reciprocating components. The crankshaft is compact. The internal rotating mass is minimized. When you open the throttle, it reacts instantly. No waiting. No dramatic buildup. No filtered smoothness. And that immediacy tricks the brain. Because the brain equates responsiveness with speed. Rotational mass, the hidden villain. Most riders think weight only matters on a scale. It doesn't. Where weight is located, and whether it is spinning, matters far more. Rotational mass resists change. Wheels spinning at high speed create gyroscopic forces that stabilize the motorcycle but also resist lean input. Heavy crankshafts slow rev changes. Large flywheels smooth power delivery but dull response. The Duke 390 uses lightweight wheels, a compact crank assembly, minimalistic bodywork, a tight, centralized mass layout. Less rotational mass means faster revving engine response, reduced gyroscopic resistance, quicker lean transitions, more immediate direction changes. When you flick the handlebars into a corner, the Duke doesn't hesitate. It snaps into lean with almost telepathic obedience. That sharpness amplifies the sensation of speed. It doesn't merely travel fast, it reacts fast. And reaction speed is what the human brain interprets as performance. Short wheelbase, the geometry of urgency. Wheelbase length affects personality. Long wheelbase motorcycles feel planted, stable, composed at high speed. They glide through sweeping corners like locomotives. Short wheelbase motorcycles feel alert, restless, reactive. The Duke 390's compact dimensions create faster turn-in, tighter cornering capability, easier urban maneuverability, increased front-end engagement. In traffic, it feels like it's darting through space rather than pushing through it. On twisty roads, Every input produces immediate chassis rotation. The bike doesn't need persuasion. It responds. And when the chassis reacts instantly to rider input, your brain processes that rapid change as acceleration, even if the speedometer suggests otherwise. Because the sensation of motion isn't purely linear. It's directional. Torque delivery, the punch factor. The Duke's single-cylinder engine delivers torque low and aggressively in the rev range. Unlike multi-cylinder engines that build power in a smooth crescendo, a single-cylinder engine fires in pronounced pulses. Each combustion event feels distinct, mechanical, direct. That creates strong initial pull, immediate surge from low RPM, aggressive mid-range character. There is drama in each power stroke, and drama feels fast. The pulse of torque communicates effort. It makes the rider feel the mechanical violence occurring beneath the tank. Even if absolute acceleration is moderate, the perceived intensity is high. It feels like the bike is working hard, and that intensity heightens engagement. Upright ergonomics, sensory amplification. Riding position is often overlooked in discussions of speed perception. On the Duke 390, you sit upright. Your torso catches wind. Your arms are wide and commanding. The bars provide leverage. At 100 km per hour on a fully fared supersport, you're tucked behind aerodynamic protection. Wind noise is reduced. Vibration is filtered. The experience is smooth. On a naked lightweight, the wind hits your chest. The engine vibrations reach your palms. The road texture travels through the pegs. More sensation equals more perceived speed. The Duke doesn't isolate you from motion. It immerses you in it. The trellis frame effect. The exposed trellis frame is not just aesthetic aggression. It contributes to chassis rigidity while keeping overall weight low. A rigid frame transmits road feedback more clearly. There is less vague flex. Less delay between input and response. You feel everything. Front tire loading under braking. Rear squat under acceleration. Subtle changes in grip mid-corner. Feedback is immediate. Immediate feedback feels sharp. Sharp feels fast. Light bikes punish hesitation. Heavy motorcycles mask imperfections. Their mass smooths clumsy inputs. Their inertia absorbs abruptness. Light motorcycles magnify mistakes. On the Duke 390, abrupt throttle equals front-wheel lightness. Rough downshift equals instant chassis reaction. Sudden steering input equals dramatic lean. Because the bike is light, every input matters. Every action produces consequence. That intensity creates a psychological sense of high performance. You feel involved, responsible, connected. And that connection amplifies the perception of speed. The physics behind the feeling. Strip away the emotion, and the explanation becomes beautifully mechanical. Lower inertia, quicker changes in acceleration. Reduced gyroscopic force, easier lean initiation. Lower unsprung mass, sharper road compliance. Centralized weight, more agile direction changes. Higher effective power-to-weight ratio, stronger real-world pull. The motorcycle does not necessarily move faster through space. It changes motion faster. And the human brain equates rapid change with speed. Why beginners love it, and veterans respect it. For beginners, the Duke 390 feels empowering. It responds immediately. It accelerates confidently without overwhelming. It feels alive but manageable. New riders feel like heroes because they can access the bike's full personality without entering terrifying velocity. For experienced riders, the appeal is different. You can use nearly 100% of the power. You can ride it aggressively without triple-digit consequences. You can maintain corner speed and feel like you're extracting everything the machine offers. On tight roads, lightweight motorcycles often embarrass bigger machines. Because corner speed, not straight-line horsepower, determines rhythm. And the rhythm feels fast. The final truth. Light motorcycles do not necessarily have higher top speeds. They have higher engagement per kilometer. The KTM 390 Duke proves something fundamental about motorcycling. Speed is not defined by numbers. It is defined by responsiveness, by immediacy, by how directly machines and riders communicate. When mass drops, sensation rises. When inertia decreases, urgency increases. And when a motorcycle reacts the instant you think, the world feels like it's accelerating around you. That is why light bikes feel faster. That is why the Duke 390 feels electric. And that is why, sometimes, less motorcycle feels like more speed.